You're not ready for this one. The street's been talking, the internet been cooking, and now the receipts just hit different. An alleged OTF contract has leaked that claims King Von, the same King Von who carried the whole city on his back, the same Von who made Crazy Story a lifestyle, was signed to a deal where he was making zero. Not a little. Not a cut. Zero. While Lil Durk, the face of Only the Family, was allegedly stacking millions off the same movement Von helped build. Fans are shocked. Old heads are quiet. The timeline just got rewritten in blood and paperwork. Was the loyalty real, or was the paper just thicker on one side? Because if these pages are legit, then everything we thought we knew about the OTF Brotherhood just got exposed under fluorescent light. And once the first page dropped, the second one followed. And the names on that second page? They change everything. The streets of Chicago already knew the name King Von carried weight, but nobody expected the weight of paper to hit this hard. Late last night, an anonymous drop landed in the inboxes of 3 major rap news pages at the exact same time. Screenshots. PDFs. Contract language that looked official enough to make grown men stop scrolling. The first page carried the Only the Family header, a date from early 2019, and the name Davon Bennett printed clear as day. Under the compensation section, the number that stared back was a cold 0. Not 15%. Not 10. 0. Artist royalty listed as none. Meanwhile, the same document allegedly outlined back-end participation, brand usage fees, and promotional overrides that funneled straight to Durk banks and the OTF entity. Fans who opened those images felt the temperature drop in real time. One group chat that had been arguing about old beefs went completely silent for almost 4 minutes before the first "no way" appeared. People who claimed to have been around during those early OTF sessions started whispering the same story with different details. One voice that requested anonymity said Von never sat at the table the way the public thought. He was family, yes. He had the tattoo, yes. But when the actual paperwork came out, the numbers were not built for him to eat the same way the face of the label ate. The leak shows a clause that gave OTF full rights to use Von's image, name, and likeness across every platform, while the artist side of the split stayed locked at nothing. Another section allegedly gave Durk final say on features, tour routing, and even which songs could be released under the OTF banner. If the pages are real, then every time Von's face sold a shirt or a stream or a ticket, the paper says the money moved in one direction only. The first wave of reaction hit harder than expected. Old O-Block affiliates who still answer the phone after midnight began calling each other. One of them, a childhood friend who used to ride with both men, told a private group that the numbers matched conversations he overheard in 2019. He said Von had asked about the split more than once and was told, "We family. The paper is just for the industry." According to this source, the conversation always ended the same way, Von nodding, lighting another blunt, and saying, "As long as we solid." That same source now claims the leaked pages prove the solidity only went one way. Emotions ran high in those calls. Voices cracked. Somebody hung up mid-sentence. The family was left divided before the sun even came up. By morning, the second set of pages dropped. These were different. They carried handwritten notes in the margins, dates that lined up with Von's first major Empire distribution drop, and a signature that looked uncomfortably close to the one people have seen on old photos. The new pages introduced a promotional advance recovery clause that allegedly allowed OTF to recoup every dollar spent on videos, travel, and chains before any artist royalty could ever kick in. Since the royalty was already listed as 0, the recovery clause became a permanent lock. One line in particular has the internet spinning. Artist acknowledges that brand elevation and platform access constitute full and complete consideration. In plain language, the paper claims Von's payment was the shine itself. Fans who grew up watching the Crazy Story videos felt something shift in their chest. The same people who once screamed "OTF till we die" started typing slower. A former OTF staffer who left the camp in 2021 finally spoke on condition that his face stay hidden. He said the internal conversations always treated Von like the product and Durk like the owner. He claims he was in the room when the original draft was printed and that Durk's team celebrated the structure because it protected the label from any future claim. The staffer went further. He said after Vaughn's death, the same contract was referenced in internal emails when the estate asked about unpaid balances. Those emails, according to him, never left the office. Now the public is staring at the same language. The stakes just climbed. Because if the paper is authentic, then every posthumous stream, every memorial shirt, every long-live Vaughn moment carried a silent split that never reached the family the way people believed. The first major conflict arrived when a voice claiming to represent part of Vaughn's bloodline issued a short statement through a middleman. The statement did not deny the pages. It simply said the family is reviewing all documents with counsel, and that loyalty without paper is still loyalty until the paper shows otherwise. That single sentence set group chats on fire. Some fans took it as confirmation. Others called it careful language designed to keep doors open. Either way, the temperature rose. Durk's side has stayed quiet so far, but silence in this climate is its own kind of answer. People who once defended every move now sit with the screenshots open on two phones, comparing signatures, zooming in on dates, and asking the same question out loud. If the man who put the city on his back was truly eating zero, then who was eating for two? The next development landed before the first wave could even settle. A second anonymous account, this one using an old OTF email domain that still redirects, uploaded a short audio clip. The voice on the clip is distorted, but the words are clear. Somebody is reading from what they claim is an internal memo dated 3 weeks after Vaughn's welcome to O-Block rollout. The memo allegedly celebrates the fact that the artist's side of the ledger remained at zero, while brand metrics and streaming numbers climbed. The voice on the audio laughs once, then says, "The structure held." That laugh has been screenshot, slowed down, and turned into a dozen different reaction videos already. Fans who used to argue that the Brotherhood was pure now sit with that laugh looping in their heads. The paper and the voice are starting to line up in ways that feel too clean to ignore. What makes the moment heavier is the timing. The leak did not drop during a random week. It dropped while old cases are still being discussed, while old alliances are being re-examined, and while the next generation of Chicago artists is watching every move. Young rappers who grew up on Vaughn's catalog are suddenly asking their own managers the same question Vaughn allegedly asked in 2019. What does the paper actually say? The answer, according to the leaked pages, is that the paper said nothing for the artist and everything for the infrastructure around him. Emotions ran high again when a childhood friend of both men posted a simple black screen with white text that read, "I was there when the numbers were discussed. I stayed quiet because I thought the loyalty would cover it. Looking at these pages now I feel sick." The post was deleted within 40 minutes, but the screenshot lived longer than the original. The story is no longer just about one contract. It is about the moment the public realizes the shine and the split might have been two different things the whole time. And just when the first set of pages and the audio memo started to feel like the whole picture, another file appeared in the same drop folder. This one is shorter. It carries a different header. It mentions a side agreement that was never meant to surface. The first line of that new file changes the direction of everything that came before it, because the name on the second signature line is not the name anyone expected to see. The name on the second signature line stopped every scroll mid-finger. It was not Lil Durk. It was not an OTF lawyer. The signature belonged to a man who had spent years standing next to both of them in every major photo, every studio session, every late-night ride. The side agreement allegedly carried the initials of Jameson 100K Track Francois, the same manager the public always believed was solely Vaughn's guy. According to the new file, 100K had countersigned a clause that allowed OTF to retain full promotional ownership of any project released under the joint banner while the artist compensation remained locked at zero. The document framed it as mutual brand protection. Fans who once praised Track for making sure Vaughn owned his masters now stared at the page like it was written in a different language. The man who told the world Vaughn kept 100% of his publishing was now allegedly on paper protecting a structure that paid the artist nothing. The second development hit before the first wave of outrage could even form full sentences. A short series of text messages, timestamped the same week the side agreement was signed, appeared in the same drop. The texts show a back and forth between two numbers that people close to the camp immediately recognized. One message reads, "He good with a zero as long as the shine stay on him. Don't let the paper scare him." The reply comes 3 minutes later. He already said family over everything. We solid. A third message, sent the next morning, simply says, structure locked. Nobody eats off the name but us. The screenshots carry metadata that some online sleuths claim matches old phone dumps. Whether the texts are authentic or carefully manufactured, the damage is already done. The idea that Vaughn sat in the room, nodded at zero, and walked out believing the loyalty covered the difference has the entire timeline in question. Emotions ran high the moment those texts circulated. A woman who claims to have been in the outer circle of both camps posted a video with her face half covered. Her voice shook as she said she remembered Vaughn coming home one night in 2019 and telling her, "They say the paper is just for the white folks. We move different." She said she asked him if he was sure. He smiled and answered, "As long as Durk's solid, I'm solid." The video ends with her staring at the camera in silence for 8 full seconds. That silence has been clipped, slowed, and turned into reaction content across every platform. Old friends who used to defend every decision now sit with the same question looping. Did the man who wrote the city into every bar ever truly know what the paper said, or did he trust the handshake more than the ink? The conflict escalated further when a voice claiming to speak for part of Durk's inner circle finally broke the quiet. The statement was short and sharp. It did not deny the existence of documents. It simply said, "People invent paper when the real story stops making the money. Vaughn was family. Everything else is noise." That single sentence landed like gasoline. Within an hour, a second account, this one using language that matched old OTF group chat patterns, replied with a screenshot of a different page. This page allegedly showed a payment ledger from late 2020, weeks after Vaughn's death. The ledger lists brand usage recovery amounts moving into an OTF-controlled account, while a separate column labeled "Artist Residual" stays empty. The numbers are not small. Fans who zoomed in on the ledger felt the room get colder. The idea that the shine continued to generate money long after the artist was gone, and that none of it was structured to reach the estate under the original terms, has turned the conversation from business into something closer to betrayal. A new participant entered the story the same evening. A man who once handled day-to-day logistics for several OTF trips agreed to speak on a private call that was later partially leaked. His voice is calm, almost tired. He says he was present when the side agreement was discussed. He claims Track was told the zero royalty protected everyone from future lawsuits, and that the real money would come from tours and merch controlled by the label. According to this man, Track asked one question: "Does Vaughn understand the number is zero?" The answer he says he heard was, "He understands family." The logistics man goes quiet for a moment on the recording, then adds, "I thought that was enough too. Looking at these pages now, I don't know what enough means anymore." The clip has already been slowed down, captioned, and shared in every corner of the timeline. The family was left divided in ways that feel permanent. Just when the side agreement and the text messages seemed to form a complete picture, another file appeared in the original drop folder. This one is older. The date sits in 2018, before the major Empire distribution runs, before Welcome to O'Block, before the world knew the full weight of the name. The file carries a different header and a short list of preliminary terms. One line stands out because it is written in plain language instead of legal code. It reads, "Artist to receive platform and protection. Financial participation to be revisited after first major commercial cycle." The commercial cycle came. The revisiting, according to every later page, never did. That single early sentence has people replaying every interview, every live, every moment Vaughn smiled and said the family was solid. The stakes are no longer about one contract. They are about whether the entire public story of the rise was built on a number that stayed frozen at zero while everything around it multiplied. The newest development arrived in the form of a short voice note that some claim belongs to a person who sat in the actual room when the first draft was signed. The voice is low and careful. It says the zero was never meant to stay forever. It was a temporary structure until the numbers got big enough to renegotiate. The voice then pauses and adds something that has the internet holding its breath. The renegotiation date was set for the month after the Atlanta trip. The trip that never brought him home. The note ends there. No further explanation. No name. Just the implication that the paper was scheduled to change, and the change never came because the artist never made it back to the table. Fans who grew up on the music are now sitting with a new kind of quiet. The kind that comes when the story you loved starts looking like it had missing pages the entire time. And somewhere in the same drop folder, one final file is still waiting to be opened. The name on that file is not a manager. It is not a lawyer. It is a name the public has never associated with the business side of OTF at all. The final file opened to a name no one in the public had ever linked to the money side of OTF. It belonged to a quiet relative who had handled early paperwork for both camps years before the cameras found them. The page allegedly shows that relative countersigned the original zero royalty structure as a witness, then later received a quiet side payment once the streams exploded. The revelation reframes every handshake, every family over everything moment, and every posthumous dollar. The paper did not just favor one man. It had silent partners the public never knew existed. Fans who opened the file sat in silence for a full minute before the first comments started flying. One longtime supporter typed, "I defended this movement with my whole chest, and now I'm looking at a name that was never supposed to be in the room." Emotions ran high across every group chat that still carried the old OTF photos as wallpapers. The relatives' alleged role introduced the next hard development within hours. A short series of bank screenshots, time-stamped across 2021 and 2022, dropped into the same folder. The images claim to show repeated transfers labeled brand continuity, moving into an account tied to that relative, while a parallel column for the estate stayed empty. The amounts were not pocket change. One transfer alone carried 6 figures. A second screenshot appeared to capture an internal note that read, "Keep the witness line quiet. Structure still holding." The note carried no signature, only a date that lined up with the first anniversary of Vaughn's passing. People who had spent years saying the family would always eat now stared at numbers that suggested otherwise. The family was left divided in real time. Some voices insisted the relative had only protected the brand. Others called it the quietest cut of all. A conflicting statement arrived before the screenshots could even finish circulating. The relative, speaking through a middleman who refused to show his face, issued 4 carefully worded sentences. "I signed as a witness because both sides asked me to. I never touched artist money. Any paper floating around is being twisted. Vaughn was my blood, and I would never move against him." The denial landed like a match on dry grass. Within 20 minutes, a second account claiming access to the same drop posted a blurred video of a man who looked similar to the relative sitting at a table with 2 open folders. The video has no clear audio, only the sound of pages turning and a low voice saying, "They will never see this side." Whether the clip is real or staged, the timing made the denial feel thinner. Fans who once argued the brotherhood was pure began posting old photos of the relative standing behind both Vaughn and Durk with new captions that simply read, "How long was the paper ready?" The conflict escalated further when a voice claiming to represent part of Vaughn's estate finally stepped forward. The statement was longer this time and carried legal weight. It said the estate had obtained copies of the same files and was examining every signature, every transfer, and every clause that kept residual columns at 0. The statement ended with a single sentence that raised the temperature again. "Loyalty is not a defense against paper that never paid the artist." That line spread faster than the original leak. Old friends who used to ride for both sides went quiet. One childhood associate posted a black screen with white text that said, "I was in the car when the first numbers were explained. I told myself the shine was the payment. Looking at these pages, I feel like I failed him." The post stayed up for 11 minutes before disappearing. The screenshot lived longer. Just when the estate statement and the relative's denial seemed to lock the story into a two-sided war, another development shifted the ground again. A short voice note, this one cleaner than the earlier distorted clips, surfaced from an account that had never posted about OTF before. The voice claims to belong to a former logistics runner who handled bags and travel for the camp in 2019 and 2020. He says he was present the night the 0 figure was first spoken out loud in a room that also contained the relative. According to the runner, Vaughn asked one direct question, "So I'm not seeing a split on the back end?" The answer he claims he heard was, "The platform is the split." The protection is the split. We move as one. The runner says Vaughn nodded, then asked the relative if the paper was clean. The relative, according to this new voice, answered, "It's clean for family." The note ends with the runner saying he never thought about that exchange again until the files dropped. The implication hit hard. If the conversation happened the way the note describes, then the 0 was not a secret kept from Vaughn. It was a number he was told to accept as love. The final escalation arrived in the form of a live statement that no one predicted. A woman who has stayed completely silent since 2020 appeared on a private Instagram live that was recorded and clipped within minutes. She never says her full name, only that she was close enough to both camps to see the early paperwork. Her voice stays steady while her hands shake. She says she watched the relative sign the witness line. She says she heard Durk's side explain the 0 as temporary. She says she later watched money move after the funeral and asked the same relative why the estate column stayed empty. According to her, the answer was, the structure was never built to open. The live ends with her staring at the camera and saying, "I kept quiet because I thought the dead deserved peace. The paper does not care about peace." The clip has already been slowed, captioned, and shared across every platform that still carries the old music. Fans who grew up screaming the songs are now sitting with a new kind of quiet, the kind that comes when the story you loved starts looking like it had missing pages the entire time. What began as one leaked contract has become a chain of names, transfers, voice notes, and denials that refuse to line up cleanly. The 0 remains on the page. The millions remain on the other side of the ledger. The relative who was never supposed to be in the business conversation is now in the center of it. The estate is examining paper. The public is examining loyalty. And the man whose face sold the movement is no longer here to say which version of the story he actually believed. The full picture is still missing pieces, but every new file makes the old picture harder to recognize. The story is not finished. Drop your honest thoughts below. Was the 0 ever really temporary? Or was the temporary story the only thing that stayed permanent? Do you believe the relative's denial or the transfers that keep surfacing? Like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you catch the next receipt the moment it drops. The comments are open. Speak on it.